Hey, man, more brothers. I'm going to do something that's a little lighter than what I have been doing over the last couple of weeks or so. Just want to do a response to Ram's video. Shout out to the Field Master. In the video, he talks about women having two faces. And what he means by that, by two sexual faces. And he uses the one face where it's social, in other words, long term. I think we were just talking about this. Nicole was actually talking about this. She talked about Obsidian shit, where she would take Derek Jackson for a roll in the hay, but Obsidian would be for long term. And those are the two faces: the sexual face, which is the temporary short term, and the long term, which is the social, which is, how they say, women say, the bag, for everything else, raising kids, husband material, marriage, all that kind of stuff. Those are two separate things. And then you got the guy that gets her crank running, as Kendra says, has her hoe key. In other words, the key to that coochie without restriction. Now, Ram also says men have the same kind of face. Two different faces. Women always say, what about sluts? I said, men love sluts. They just don't want to marry them. Men love having sex with sluts, but don't want to marry them. Men have the same two faces. They're expressed differently. They're expressed differently than women. But they have the same two faces. They have the same nature, but they express it differently. Women hide theirs better, and men are more open about theirs. Because men are allowed, because of our nature, are allowed to openly have more than one woman or be involved with more than one woman, because we are not vessels. Women are vessels, and they're judged by who gets into their vessels and who can make a deposit inside their container. Is what it is. That doesn't mean that women don't have it. And what Ram was saying is that a lot of men don't want to admit that women enjoy sex. And like Alan Roger Curry said, there would be a slight disagreement. Men don't want to admit that women enjoy sex without love. And that is not true. Women enjoy sex without love all the time. And a lot of times women fool themselves thinking that they're in love because they enjoy sex with that dude, because that dude does have her whole key. And he does unlock that switch, and he does partake, and she can't get away from it. So she's going to pretend like she's in love with him, and she's not. Whereas men love to have sex with a slut and know that her vagina is good. He's not going to fool himself, or he doesn't have to fool himself into thinking that he's in love with that woman. There is a difference. Now, getting back to what Ron was talking about, the two sexual faces of women. And you wonder how come, as I've said, that married women cheat more than you would like to think, more than married women would like to admit. I know some people say it's less than 30%, and I say bullshit. I said it's more like 80% in my estimation, especially if they have opportunity. But that's just me. I know I'm going to get some pushback especially from the women and from some guys. They're going to say that not that many women cheat, or that many married women cheat. Why? Because a lot of them are married. And the women ain't going to admit it, and the men aren't going to admit that it's been done to them. And I've been hit on by enough married women, sometimes right in front of their husband, to know. Trust but verify. Now, there are women that will not cheat, married or not, because they don't cheat. And they won't. Their morals, or the way their internals are built, they won't allow themselves to cheat. I've met a couple. Kendra's one of those people. I have to say, Kendra is one of those people. She's not going to cheat because that's who she is. temptation or not, because she has a high moral standard. But I can tell you, people like Kendra are far and few in between. Simply because every man cannot satisfy every woman's desire. And just because she tips with one guy doesn't mean that she's not satisfied with the sex that she has with you. I can tell you that for a fact, because every vagina's not built the same. And just like, I'll give you an example. Let me backtrack for a second, give you an example. D.L. Hughley's a comedian, and D.L. Hughley talks about cheating on his wife on the road. And when asked why did he cheat on his wife on the road, he said it's because the stuff that he did with sluts out there on the road with the groupies was a different type of sex. He didn't want to introduce that kind of sex to his household. He didn't want the degenerate kind of, in his mind, the degenerate kind of stuff he was doing outside the house to be introduced inside the house. And he's a man. He's a high value man that probably could have gotten away with it, and actually did get away with it. So for a high value man that could get away with it doesn't want to do that, which is the Madonna whore complex, which is you can actually look it up, Madonna whore complex. Men think this way. So if men think this way, why don't you think women think that way? And I've heard it. I ain't gonna tell you where I heard it, but I've heard it from more than one source. In fact, I heard it from a porn star that said it. She was talking about a size, but size and the type of sex applies, okay? A married woman is not going to want to have a certain type of sex on a regular basis. Say for instance, she likes to dabble in anal sex, just out of the, just take a random thing. It could be many types, but just take, for instance, anal sex. And she likes to dabble in it. Now, she could dabble in it with her husband, but she introduces that into her marriage. That means she's open to it. And if she's open to it, that means he's going to ask for it. And if he's asked for it, then she no longer has control over when it's done. Then that becomes a negotiation. And say she wants to only have anal sex like once a month or every other month. And that's an itch that she has. What is she going to do? She's going to contract that out. She's going to pick a dude that she's sexually attracted to, and all the type of sex that she wants to have that she doesn't want inside her marriage, that she's going to do with him. She's not going to bring that home to her husband. She's not going to turn her husband out, because she's not going to want to do that every week or every day or however many times her husband's going to desire it, because once she opens herself up like that and he knows that she does it, he's going to ask for it. Remember a friend of mine, he enjoys a good blowjob, but his wife doesn't give a good blowjob. She don't like doing it. And there's people that don't like doing it, they're bad at it. What'd he do? Contracted it out. He went to what he called his head doctor. And she wasn't as attractive as his wife. And she wasn't as capable as his wife. And she wasn't as good, she was what she was, right? She was one of them 12 to 5 chicks. But he contracted it out. So when he needed a good Hummer once a week, he found a way to get to the head doctor. Women are the same way. Say your average size, your penis is average size. Which is a marriage, a lot of women say that's a marriage penis. You're size 6, but every now and then she wants size 9. Don't ask me how I know, I should say. She wants a size 9. But the thing is, she doesn't want to go to the doctor in 3 years to get for a hysterectomy, because that size 9 done banged out the back of her uterus. So she gonna contract that out. So she gonna visit her size 9, every couple of weeks or once a month. That doesn't mean she doesn't enjoy sex with her husband. In fact, she probably prefers sex with her husband most of the time. But there's something that dude does, or that dude brings out of her, which is, like I said, the woman has a dark side, just like a man has a dark side. There's a dark side that woman wants to express that she doesn't want to introduce into her marriage. Once she does it in her marriage, then she has the responsibility to continue to do it. Dudes, you know that. If you like a little kink, and your wife, trust and believe, your wife goes through your porn, she knows what you like, and you might like a little kinky, she'll say, well, I don't do that, or I ain't doing that. What she means is, I'm not going to do that every day, or I'm not going to do that every week. I know that's what you like, but I'm not going to do that every week. I can't continue to do that because I don't feel like going through the operations because you want anal sex 3-4 times a week. So she's gonna lie. Let's keep it funky. She gonna lie and say she don't do that. The thing is, she doesn't do it with you, or she won't do it with you. She's gonna do it with him. He's gonna get it, the kinky stuff, because he's selected, because he's a contractor, not a lover, a contractor, to fill a need that she needs to be filled with consequences. Just like you bang that crazy chick on the side that's away from your house because she squirts to the ceiling, but you know you can't marry her, you know you can't be with her because she's nuts. So you lay her once a week, or you lay her once a month. It's not rocket science. And a lot of guys are really, you know what? It is what it is. Ignorance is bliss. And if you knew that your woman was doing that on the side, outside of your vision, outside of your earshot, you'd have a different relationship with her. You couldn't put your all in. She knows that, you know that. That's like if you both agree both agree to look the other way. And if you really wanted anal sex, you find a chick that likes it or willing to get it with you once or twice a week to give you anal sex, and she'd probably look the other way because she ain't doing it. It's a negotiation. So what Rahm is talking about in a nutshell, is that ugly truth that a lot of guys, well, hell, it's a pretty lie that people tell each other, especially married couples. And a lot of women, wives, lie to you because if you knew that she was open and you accepted it, she would have to accept that you're going to be open. And one or two things going to happen. Either you're going to be out there and you're going to bust it wide open and you're going to run through some chicks because she's okayed it, or it's going to hit your ego. It's going to cause problems in her marriage. No man or woman really wants problems, especially women don't want problems in their marriage. And if they have that itch, and that itch affects their personality and affects their attitude. So they go get that shit taken care of. They come on back, and then they go back doing their wifely duty. No harm, no foul. Anyway, it's probably gone on long. Let me check the time. Anyway, that's about all I have in a nutshell. It's really not that complex when you think about it. A lot of guys think that women have to be in love to have sex, and sometimes they do. For most men, for a woman to have sex, she has to be in some kind of relationship with him. But that doesn't mean all men. There's some men that don't need that. And just because you're not that with that woman or the woman that you choose to marry, doesn't mean that that woman that you have her hokey could be another woman, a completely different woman. And I've had a few, okay, where I did have that woman's hokey. We were just not compatible as far as a relationship was concerned on either side. And that is really the answer is it's just a matter of who matches with who sexually. And just because socially and emotionally you match with one person doesn't mean you match with them sexually. And just because you match with somebody sexually doesn't mean the other things are going to line up. And human beings try to adapt to the difference. Men don't marry sluts, and women try not to marry bums. But does not mean they don't have sex with them. Plenty of dudes that knocked up strippers and ratchet chicks that knocked them up. Plenty of dudes. By the same token, plenty of women done have babies by street niggas, by street dick. The only difference is that black women do not like to be judged. They don't want to take accountability for it, whereas men do. And I think if black women started taking accountability for their sexual choices, I think men would be a lot more open, a lot more forgiving of it. But taking accountability for your sexual choices comes with a downside. You can't blame nobody else. And you're going to have to hold your own ovaries, which women, especially black women, do not like doing. But it's getting kind of long. That's all I got. I just wanted to co-sign on what the Film Master has dropped, because he's 100% right. And if you haven't been on both sides, you haven't heard it from both sides, then it's difficult to actually ascertain. And a lot of times you could be on both sides, but you turn it down out of fear. A lot of guys do. They turn it down out of fear. But I'm going to jump off of here. This is BGS out, and I'll see you cretins on the next one.